Top of the morning, planet Earth, and to all you listeners out there, a hearty and healthy Irish hello. Now, in case you're wondering, you're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show, an Irish talk show for men and all things manly. Of course, if you're riding around in your car or flying about the universe in your spaceship, or maybe you're just sitting at home in that lazy boy, you can pick up the show at 92.5 FM, F for Frank, M for Matilda. On the dial, you can reach us at 92.5 FM or on the wacky and wonderful World Wide Web. A lot of W's. At kows.fm, F for Frank and M for Matilda. The topic of our show for this week. Dramatic pause. Wait for it. Keeping life simple. Oh, yes, Dermot, that's quite challenging. That is quite the challenge, Dermot, to keep this life of ours simple. Well, I'm going to share a couple of things today that I think will be really, really very beneficial, very helpful. Now, I share some of this stuff with I'm a professional life coach. I'm also a trainer of life coaches, and I've been doing this work now for about 18 years. I've been training, coaching, doing workshops, a lot of different self-development stuff. And I'm always training. I'm always getting better. I'm always developing what I'm learning. And so today I thought I'd do a show on, there's three parts of the show. The first one we're going to talk about is the problem with problem solving. And you might think, Dermot, I don't have any problem with problem solving. The only problem I have is that I have problems. Yes, well, join the human race. We all have problems. However, I say to you, my friend, however, it's not the problem that's the problem. It's looking at the problem as a problem that is the problem. Now, you may be scratching your head and thinking, what the hell is he talking about? Has he been drinking too much caffeine tea again with milk and honey? My favorite, by the way. No, I haven't. I haven't actually had any tea today. But I want to talk about this because clients come to me and they say, I've got a problem. And there's no way to go around the problem. Now, I coach them very successfully, I have to say, around looking at the problem as not a problem, but as an opportunity. Now, this is not about positive thinking. There's a place for positive thinking, just not in our show today. There's a place for all of that. But when we have a problem, let me. I'm going to back up a bit because I'm already jumping into the show. You can tell it's one of my favorite topics. I thought what I'd do is I'd share some fundamental, very simple stuff, not complicated, because we are trying to keep it simple, about how I work with clients. And also in my own life, we're going to be talking about some of the things I'm going to share at the end of the show. 12 things that I do, 12 very powerful things that I do that are very simple for living a healthy, successful life. We're also going to be talking today in the middle of the show about pushing or pondering. Are you pushing to get a result? Are you pushing to get an outcome? Are you pushing to get some type of an effect that you want, an expectation that you want from something desired? We're going to talk about that today because I train a lot of my clients in pondering instead of pushing, and it leads to a phenomenal life. This alone, this little thing today that I'm going to share with you in the middle of the show, I think will have a big impact on you. And then the last part of the show, last piece of content, we're going to talk about, okay, God, I'll take it from here. Now, you may be thinking, oh, Dermot's gone religious. No. Not a religious piece of the show or any of the show. But I am going to talk about this idea of we have this innate intelligence. We have this cosmic manager that works for us all the time. But we think and feel and accept at times that we've got to do all the pushing. We've got to do all the figuring it out. We've got to do all the problem solving. And there's a better way. There's a much better way. Now, I'm sharing this with you after 20 years or 18 years of doing this stuff, and I'm only figuring it out. Well, I'm always figuring it out, but I'm always finding better and new and more simple, more effective, more impactful ways of living my own life, putting it out into the public, and also in my coaching with clients. So I'm going to share some of the best stuff that I know in today's show, as I do in every show, I suppose. I mean, hopefully you get you get the best. You get the best of me every time. You get the best of me every time. I'm trying to think. It's like a Celine Dion song or something. The best of me. Maybe it's an 80s song. Flock of Seagulls or Kajagoogoo or one of those guys. The Thompson Twins. Even though there was 3 of them. Kajagoogoo. They had hair that was like it looked like a seagull landed on their head, exploded, and then the remnants of the seagull stayed on their head. Flock of seagulls. They should have called that a flock of exploded seagulls that somehow coagulated into a hairdo. But more on that later, because that's not really... We're gone a little bit off topic already. All right. So welcome to the show, everyone. If you just tuned in, you're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show, talk show for men and all things manly. And we're going to be talking about keeping life simple. It's a big, wonderful, wacky, wild, crazy world out there. And I'm going to be sharing, it's not so much that you got to take notes, and I'm going to share a bunch of strategies with you, because people, in the past, years ago, I used to do seminars and workshops where I would teach a bunch of strategies. And people would love the strategies so much, they would be just blown away with the strategies, that they would take the strategies, write them all down in perfect handwriting, in different colors, and put it in their beautiful little suitcase or, briefcase or whatever it might be. Back then, now it's computers. 20 years ago it wasn't. They would put it in a thing called a folder. It was made of paper. It was yellow. It had like a little label on it. You guys wouldn't know what those things are. Although we have folders in our computer. And they would take the strategies home, and they would be so impressed by the strategies that they would put them in the folder, take them home, put them on the shelf, and that was it. And they never looked at them again. Now, I did this for years too, so there is a place for strategies, but my work now is more about looking in a direction of truth, looking in a direction of some of the fundamentals of our thinking. Because here's the thing. Now, let's start with the problem with problem solving. The problem with problem solving is this, that when you use your thoughts to look at a problem as a problem, you right away put up a barrier. Right away you put up something that says, I can't do this. Right away you put up, some Scottish haggis. Dermot, I know what haggis is. It's really good. Right away you put up something that smells and stinks. And I don't know. I've never had Scottish haggis. It's really good, Dermot. You should try it. I might later on. But just not today in this moment. Ugh. But thank you, Connor, for that. Conor McPherson there. Not to be confused with Conor McGregor. Where was I? I totally lost. Oh, yes. The problem with problem solving is that we put up a barrier that says this is the problem. We use our thoughts to put up a barrier that says this is the problem. Now, as Einstein says, the problem can't be solved on the level that it was created. Yet, there's a lot of folks that come to me for coaching, and I've done this in my own life, I have to be totally honest, and I still do it at times. So trust me, everything I'm sharing with you today, I've done it, I will do it, and I'll probably do it again. And some things I won't do, because I've done so many times. Just take them off the sheet. And we all do this. This is a human thing. But we try to solve the problem on the level it was created. Now, I don't know if Einstein was talking about this in terms of thoughts, but we get a thought, I can't do that because. That's one I hear in coaching all the time. I can't do that, Dermot. I can't create a better life for myself because I have no money, because I have no time, because I have no motivation, because that person is getting in my way. I don't have the resources. I don't have this. I don't have that. There's like 20 different reasons that people give me, right? All the way from skills to time, money, and everything else. Not intelligent enough, not good enough, not confident enough, not creative enough. And the problem is that they create that problem by a thought. A problem is nothing more than a thought that you keep thinking that you can't solve, right? That's all thinking is. Thinking is just thought. Thought in action. Thought on a wheel. That's thinking. And that thinking becomes a belief. And then that belief becomes your reality or becomes your experience. And you move from, I wish I could do that, to I can't do that because. Right? Hear it all the time in coaching. And what I'm inviting you, dear listeners, today to check in with is that a problem is nothing more than a thought that you keep thinking that is real. Now, I've had a lot of different clients, and one of the questions that I ask clients when they come up with a perceived problem, which is just a thought. I think I can do it. I think I can't do it. I think this is a problem. I think this is a big problem. This is a small problem. In the universal world of problems, how do you distinguish between a big problem and a small problem? Well, you either think it's a big problem or you think it's a small problem. And that's your reality. Yet if you talk to somebody else, they might think, oh my God, Dermot, that's not a big problem. That's a really small problem. But to us, it feels like a problem because we have a thought, turns into thinking, and that thinking turns into a feeling, right? Or a belief. I feel that I can't do that, Dermot. I believe that I can't do that. I feel it in my heart. People tell me, oh, I just believe that I can't do that. I'll say, where do you feel that belief? Oh, in my heart, in my belly. There's always somewhere where you feel it. But if you actually open them up and looked in there and said, all right, show me that belief. I want to see it inside your heart. It wouldn't actually be in there. There'd be no stamp on your heart. I believe this. Because our lives, our world, and everything that we experience is made up of thought. And it's the first thing that people come they say to me, oh, Dermot, I have a problem, and I don't think that I can solve it. And I think it's a really big problem. Oh, do you really think it's a big problem? Yeah, I really think it's a big problem, Dermot. How big do you think it is? Well, I think it's really big. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being small, 10 being really big. How big do you think this problem is? Oh, it's a 10, Dermot. It's definitely, I think it's probably even 11. So that right there tells us that it's thinking, that it's thought created. Now, does that mean that if you lose a leg in an accident and you come to coaching and say, Dermot, I've lost my leg, but I'd really love to play soccer, that I'm going to say to you, oh, that's just a thought. You just think you lost your leg. You really didn't. That's not what I'm talking about. Right? There is things that happen to us. Physical things that happen to us. But most of our problems, our perceived problems, are mental. They're not physical, unless something physically happens to you. So one of the questions that I often ask my clients when they talk about problems and they talk about how big the problems are, I just do a little shift. It's called a little shift with them. I just say, just suppose for a moment that you could press a button on your computer and you get a drop-down menu of some ideas, some new ways of looking at this problem, some new ways of handling or solving this problem. Go ahead and press that button and tell me what you see. And right away the person says, oh, I see this, I see this, I see this, I see this. Now, we haven't physically done anything to the person. I haven't shook the belief out of them. I haven't grabbed them and says, you've got to believe something else. Believe! solve this problem. All I've done is ask them a question so that they can reframe, or they can restate or rethink or restate the thought as a different thought. That's it. Now, even deeper than that, when we can start to understand, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to all the ladies. I know it's a show for men, but welcome all the ladies. I know you're listening out there. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. You're going to learn all the secrets. All the secrets. Everything that we talk about, us manly men, when you guys are not around, this is what we talk about. We talk about goals. We talk about relationships. We talk about getting things done. We talk about problem solving. Men love to problem solve. We like to create problems, and then we like to solve them. Usually in that order. And if we're bored, we'll create a problem just so we can solve it. So ladies, men love to solve problems. When we say, hey, can I fix that for you? Can I do that? Can I do that? Say yes. Don't say, no, I got it. You'll break the man's heart. Ladies, when the guy says, hey, let me help you with your bags. Let me do this. Let me do that. Say, that would be lovely. Thank you. That's a little tip for you, ladies. You can feed your man. The way to happiness is through his belly, but it's also through his brain, which means give him stuff to figure out, give him stuff to fix, give him stuff to solve. He'll love you forever. All right. So I will say, hey, how could you look at this differently? So you got this problem, okay, and you've scaled it from 1 to 10. You've told me it's a 10. It's a big problem. Just suppose for a moment you could take this problem and look at it from a 1, where it's a small problem. What might be an action step that you could do to create a solution? What might be a way to move forward towards a solution? What might be a simple way for you to start to create some solutions around this problem? Because, see, here's the thing I find with my clients. A lot of my clients say to me, Dermot, they have these big problems. And then in a matter of 5 minutes of just asking 1 or 2 questions, they've solved it. They'll usually solve it in about 5 to 10 minutes in the sessions, just by me asking a few very clear, very direct questions. Fascinating. And yet they've been obsessing about it for the whole week, because you can't solve the problem on the level it was created. Now, here's the other side of that I want to invite you guys to look at, and it's this. If every problem is created, everything in our lives, if it's created through the system of thought, thoughts are coming in, we live in a universe of thought, everyone. Thoughts are coming in day and night, thoughts are coming in. You grab a thought, and then you start, you churn the butter of that thought. I'm trying to think of a butter analogy where there's churning and there's butter and there's cream. Oh, God. Anyway, you churn the thought, you make butter from it. In other words, you take that thought and you create form. And now you've got something slippery, but really good on toast, and you call it a problem. Now, if you're trying to make sense of that analogy, please don't, because it went a little bit sideways. It went a little bit toasty on me there. I may have burnt the toast on that one. You know what I mean? All right. So I'd often say to clients, we're talking about keeping life simple and the problem with problem solving. What's getting in the way of you having a simple life? Or I might say to a client, what's getting in the way of you actually creating a solution for this? And the client will say something like, I just don't have enough time, Dermot, or it's too big for me. And I'll say, it's too big for you. Yeah, it's too big of a problem. Okay, so what resources do you already have that would support you in figuring this out? Who do you know that could help you to create a solution around this problem? If you could simply go around this problem and just look directly at the solution, what might that be? Just suppose for a moment you could wave a magic wand, and into your head popped 3 simple little ideas for starting to move in the direction that you want to go. Go ahead and wave your magic wand. What simple ideas come to your brain? Just imagine that you could move past this problem. What it is that you want to have instead. Any of those questions that I ask clients, create a solution on the spot. Because we have all the resources in us to create a simple life, to create any solution to any problem. Now, we could even use thought. We could say that there is no problem. That a problem is nothing more than a question that has not been answered. We could say that a problem, there's no such thing as a problem, it's just a question unanswered. We could say it's an opportunity to look at something differently. Which in my view, in my humble opinion, is that's all problems are. They're a way for us to look at something new, to look at something fresh, to look at something different, to experience it in a new way. If you had a life, it's like the sailor. The best sailors are the ones that can sail on the rough seas. And the worst sailors are usually the ones that just are constantly looking for a smooth ride. So we are sailors on this ocean of life, sailing our ships down an ocean. And we're always looking for, smooth sailing. But life doesn't work that way. Just look at the ocean, right? There's storms come and go. And so when these storms come, when these challenges come, when these problems come, the more you can sail your ship in a smooth direction, in the direction that you want to go. In other words, if you keep your thoughts on, hey, this is where I want to go. This is the direction that I want to move in. Magic happens. And in essence, there is no such thing as a problem. Because problems are made up in our mind. Even when something happens, when a loved one passes away, or we lose a job, or we don't have money for rent, we call those problems. It's kind of like, I used to ask clients, do you like surprises? And they'd say, oh yes, Dermot, I love surprises. And I say, uh-huh. Said, do you like problems? No, don't like problems, Dermot. I said, well, isn't that interesting? I said, because you love surprises, but you don't like problems. And what's interesting is every problem is a surprise. So you only like you only like the surprises that you like, but the surprises that you don't like, you call them problems. That could be a way of looking at it, Dermot. Yes. All right. So here's a question, and we're gonna move into our next segment here. No, let me just summarize everything. So, you can ask yourself a very simple question. What's one thing that I could do to make my job, my life, my relationship more simple? Or you can ask yourself, what's getting in the way of you having a simple life? It's a really nice question. Another question you can ask yourself is, what's one simple, easy thing that you could do that you're not doing that would make your life even more simple? Maybe it's to organize your bill payments. Maybe it's to organize your desk upstairs. Maybe it's to sit down and plan out your week a little bit. Maybe it's to have a conversation with your wife or your girlfriend around, hey, how could we make cooking the food for the week, how could we make that a little more simple? What's one small thing that we could do today or this week to help us move in the direction of creating some more simplicity in our lives? You pick an area of your life, and I do this all the time. Whether I'm saying, hey, the clothes thing is getting cluttered. What do you think about creating some more simplicity around the clothes clutter? Or could we get rid of some stuff, donate it, so that it's a little more space in there and it looks a little more simple to navigate to find clothes and stuff. So there's really the power is in the question, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of keeping your life simple. All right, let's play a little bit of music. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about pushing or pondering. Now, this is really, really beautiful because a lot of us out there, we're constantly pushing our lives, pushing our relationships, pushing our our thoughts, our will onto things. We want a certain outcome. I'm going to show you a better way where you can create a lot more energy for yourself, make your life a lot more simple, and create a lot more solutions to problems a lot quicker than you would if you would just keep pushing, trying to create answers for yourself. So stay tuned. We got that coming up next. I'm the Celtic Coach, and you're listening to Celtic Coach Radio Show, talk show for men and all things manly. All right. Speaking of manly things, keeping your life simple. Now, I'm quite excited about this next piece because it has impacted my life in ways that I can't even share with you. But I'm going to do my best to do that. And I don't know if I'd mentioned it, but in about 10 or so minutes, we're going to have Seamus just came in. Yes, he's here. The man of the hour. Now, for those of you who don't know, Seamus, of course, is our lucky leprechaun. He does the top 11 list, and you can also go on YouTube and you can just type in the Celtic Coach top 11 list, and you'll see Seamus in there. Seamus is our leprechaun, of course, all the way from Ireland. I think Seamus is the only leprechaun in America that's physical, that you can actually see him. So go on YouTube and you'll see the top 11 list from today's show will be up on that. And I think Seamus's top 11 list is all about, he's doing sleep today. Top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about sleep. All right, I like that. Very nice. We did a show back on sleep there a couple of months ago. All right, pushing or pondering. Let me ask you a question. Are you pushing? Now, I don't mean physically. I mean mentally. We could go down a different road. We're not going to do that. It's a clean show. I want to keep it clean here. But are you pushing to try and make your life better? Are you pushing to try and get the results that you want? Are you pushing to try and make your relationship better? Are you pushing your opinion, your agenda on other people at work? Are you pushing judgments and opinions on yourself? Are you pushing your beliefs onto other people? Are you constantly pushing and striving to make your life better? There's a better way. Now, I started doing this a couple of years ago called pondering. And whenever I'm creating like last week, I'll tell you a little story. Last week I was sitting down and I'm coming up on a new program. It's called the Ultimate Life Course, and you can go on my website at thecelticcoach.com and you can check that out. It's called the Ultimate Life Course, and it's a 12-week course that I'm doing. I'm doing it live, but I'm going to videotape it, so it will be on the website at some point in the near future. You can go on and check it. Just go to CelticCoach.com and go to workshops, and you'll see it there. And one of the things in there that I've been practicing and that I'm now teaching is pondering. You see, in our world today, ladies and gentlemen, we're conditioned that in order to have a great life, in order to make money, in order to be successful as men, we've got to be constantly pushing the limits. We've got, you hear it all, pushing the limits, pushing the envelope, pushing to be more, pushing to strive, drive, pushing to, eliminate, whatever it might be, right? We're pushing in every area of our life. And what's happening is we're burning out. I see it with my clients. They come to me all the time, and they're on burnout mode. They've been working like the dog's liver on their business. And they've been working on their business so that they can make money, so that they can spend more time with their family. If they make more money, they don't have to spend all the time working, and they can spend a little bit more time with their family. But what happens is, what I find with the men that I work with is, they're working all the time for their family, and they're spending no time with their family, and they're on burnout mode. So their relationship is stressed, their kids never see them, they're constantly working all the time, right? Or when they do on the weekends take some time off, they're sleeping because they're so tired, and the kids want to play, and the wife wants to have some, couples time, some intimate time. Yes, we got to give that to the ladies too, gentlemen. Very, very, very important. Here's a little tip for you. When the little lady comes home from work, she's looking for a little hit of oxytocin. Oxytocin is like the feel-good hormone for women. Whatever you're doing, if you can, it's not always possible. But when my little lady comes home, I'm usually upstairs because I have an office at my house. And I usually work like 9 to 6 in the office. And when she comes home, I press the pause if I can. Sometimes I'm with a client, I can't, but more than not, I will press the pause on whatever I'm doing, and I'll give her 5 or 10 minutes of my time. Say, hey, sweetie, I'm still in the middle of the project. I'll be done in about half an hour. And how was your day? Give her a hug, listen to her a little bit, and say, yeah, well, let's sit down and talk about your day, because they're looking for the oxytocin hit, which is another way of saying that is intimacy. They're looking for communication. They're looking for connection. That's the word I was looking for. They're looking for connection. So do your best to give your little lady that. Because if you don't, what you'll find is, if you don't say, hey, listen, sometimes my little lady comes home and say, hey, sweetie, great you're home. Hope you had a great day. I'm in the middle of something. I'll be down in 10 minutes. And she knows that, hey, Dermot says, and then when you say 10 minutes, gentlemen, don't mess around. If it's 10 minutes, then get your arse down there in 10 minutes. All right? Integrity is part of the game of being a man. So get your butts down there. Say what you're going to do, what you're going to say. All right. Now, in terms of this pushing, Leonardo da Vinci said it best. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And what I think he was talking about, as men, we want to be very sophisticated, and we want to be the ultimate in everything. I'm laughing because I'm creating a course called The Ultimate Life Course. So yeah, I suppose we do. Yes, we are funny creatures, us men. But the ladies love us. They do indeed, Seamus. They do indeed. All right. What I think he's talking about is that instead of pushing for a result, which, by the way, you ever notice that when you resist something, not only does it persist like a problem, but it also, you make it bigger. Do you ever have a problem, you keep obsessing about it, and the more you obsess about it, the bigger it becomes in your head, and then the bigger it becomes physically. You start messing up. You start acting upon the obsessive thoughts in your head, and you start creating more chaos. Have you ever had that happen? We've all done it. I've done it more times than I've had breakfast. We all do it. It's part of being a man, you know. Ladies, please forgive us, but, you know, that's part of us. We make no bones about it. So what Da Vinci is talking about is that in terms of simplicity, we can start to use this, what I call pondering instead of pushing. And it's when you're creating, like I said, I was creating this course last week, and I sat down and I started thinking, okay, the course, it needs to be ready in 4 weeks. And I already had a layout for it, but I started stressing in that moment, saying, gosh, there's a lot to create in 4 weeks to be ready, you know, to present it. And I started stressing out a little bit. Now, it was very mild at the start. By the way, when you start stressing out mentally, it's very mild that you can't even see it. But you may feel it in your belly, your heart, your legs, whatever. And then as the day goes on, you'll feel it more and more and more. And I noticed this. And what I did was I went outside and I just sat down with a blank piece of paper. And I started to I started to just ponder. Oh, you put your feet flat on the floor. Just look up and out anytime you want to ponder. Anytime we're pushing, we're usually looking down. We usually got our hand on our chin. We're looking down. Our back is arched forward. We're looking down. We're in that reptilian brain. Anytime you want to ponder, look up and out. Just above the sight line of your eyes, the horizon, look up. And take a few deep breaths and just ask yourself, what are some new ideas that can occur to me about this project? What are some new ways that I can think about this project? What are some new ideas that I'd like to receive from this project? You see, as men, we think we got to do it all ourselves. We got to sort it out. We got to solve all the problems ourselves. Now, we have a universal manager. You can call it whatever you want. Bob, head honcho, the big cheese, Yahweh, Buddha, Jesus, God, whatever. Spirit, cosmic consciousness, cosmic intelligence, innate intelligence, the list goes on and on and on. I don't think God really cares what we call it. But you have access to this 24/7. And any time that you're pushing or trying to solve a problem on your own, you cut off the flow of everything, not just your own innate thinking and your own creative thinking, but you also cut off the flow of the cosmic manager. Because you see, thoughts are coming and going all day long. Ideas are coming and going all day long. You're not thinking them. You're not sitting there constantly all day long thinking, okay, this thought, okay, let me think about this. There's thoughts coming and going all day long. Most of them are not you. And most of them are fake news. They don't exist. They have no basis in reality whatsoever. In my teens, I had a lot of jobs. And in my teens, I had this job picking potatoes. Yeah, no, it's true. Irish people did pick potatoes. And I would go out and I'd pick potatoes. The tractor would come along, would dig up all the potatoes, put them on the ground, and we would come along with a bag. We would be bent over. I was like, 10 or 11 at the time. And my dad would make us go and pick potatoes. And I would pick the potato. You'd be bent over. You'd have a bag between your legs, and you'd grab the potatoes and you'd throw them in the bag. And then at some point it would be about half full, and then you'd sit the bag up, in the field, and then you grab the potatoes and put them in the bag and fill the bag. It was a 4-stone bag, which I don't know what that is. That must be probably, has to be 30, 40 pounds, something, 30 pounds, I would say, maybe a little bit more. It's probably a good 40 pounds or so. And you would fill a bag, and then you'd go and you'd do the same thing over and again. You'd do this for 8 hours. I did this till I was 16. I left home when I was 16, so I did it up till I was 16. And one of the things that I always remember is that there was a guy who picked spuds, and he outranked everyone in picking potatoes, right? In other words, at the end of the day, the farmer would come along and say, how many bags did you pick? You'd keep a count. How many bags of potatoes did you pick today? And my average was usually around, I think about, I'm trying to think, God, it was so long ago. But I think my average was, be about 80 bags per day was my average. This guy used to pick well over 100 bags, sometimes 120 bags. And no one could figure out, and no matter how fast I pushed myself to catch, because I was very competitive when I was young. And the guy was, I think, I was 11 at the time, the guy was about 15. And we all thought because he's older, he was picking more bags. And I would get on, start at the same time, finish with him, and he'd always have about 40 bags more. And I tried everything. I used to go like the hammers of hell, like throwing the potatoes in the bags, pulling it along, throwing the potatoes in the bags, pulling it along, throwing the potatoes up, put them in the bag, close the bag, onto the next bag. I came up with all these strategies to have the bags close and to have them lined up at about 30 or 40 feet away from each other. And he would always win. He was the best in the field. And I realize now why he was the best in the field. When all of us at the end of the day, we were burnt out. We would pick from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. I mean, it was rough work. It was really, really hard work. And then at the end of the day, you took the bags, and when they were closed, you would tie them with a metal thing, and then you would have to lift them up and walk along with the tractor and trailer and put all the bags up onto the trailer. And sometimes you'd have to you'd have to put them over your head because you had to throw them up onto the trailer, and the trailer was getting more packed. It was a hard job. This guy, I always noticed at the end of the day, he was relaxed. He was calm. I would say, how was your day? He said, oh, I had a great day, thank you. And I never understood. And now doing this work, I totally get what he was doing. The guy was one of these guys, he was so relaxed about what he did that the whole way throughout the day, he wasn't going faster than I was going faster than him. But I was pushing. I was getting burnt out quicker. So come 2 o'clock, I was burnt out and I was just picking potatoes very slowly. Where he was keeping this thing. It's kind of like, did you see the McGregor fight the other night? Where Conor McGregor came out and he's swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging. He's just pushing himself onto Mayweather. And he does this for 5 or 6 rounds, and then you can tell he's starting to burn out. But Mayweather, he is just constant. He's just bang, 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 bang. I'll take a little rest, bang, bang, bang. And then, whatever it was in the 10th round, he mushed poor Conor. Although, well done, Conor. You did pretty well in that, mate. I didn't even think you would last 10 rounds, so that's pretty awesome. But Conor is a pusher. And Mayweather is a good example of a ponderer, where he takes his time, where he breathes, where he paces himself, where he's relaxed as he's going through his day, as he's going through the fight. And this is this idea for pushing or pondering. So the next time you're in a project and you notice... Now, Dermot, how do I know when I'm pushing? It's really simple. You're stressed. You've got some anxiety. You're feeling some butterflies in your belly. Your neck is tight. Your jaw is tight. Your chest is tight. Your body is tight. You're drinking more coffee than you should. You're snapping at people. You're short-handed. Look down at your hands. If they're shaking, there's a good chance you're pushing. And pushing makes us old really, really quickly. Like if you want to make yourself old really quickly, just keep pushing. Now, pondering is all about just relaxing. So the next time that you want to think about something, instead of trying to force a solution, or you give yourself, I got 20 minutes to do this, give yourself more time than you would ever take for yourself. Maybe you have something that takes 10 minutes. Give yourself an hour. Just try this once, and you'll have the experience. And once you have the experience, you will see the power and the impact in what I'm talking about. Because I can talk the list till the cows come home. That was a cow coming home. It'll make no sense to you. You got to find out. See, this stuff is true for me because I've tested it. But it's not true for you. So you got to find out if this stuff is true for you. So go out and just try it once or twice. So my challenge for you, the next time you have something, a project, whatever it is, even if it's just hammering some nails into a piece of wood at home, you're fixing something, take a little time to ponder in a relaxed state. Because when you ponder, magic happens. When you ponder, new ideas come to you. When you ponder, creativity opens up its doors. It opens up its curtains. And it says, hello, how are you? Let's get some new, fresh ideas into that little brain of yours. What do you think? And then you'll be able to say, yeah, I'm into that. I'll give that a go. That sounds like something new. Because if you keep doing the same old thing that you've been doing, you're going to get the same old results as that you've been getting. So try something new. All right, we're going to hear from Seamus here in just about a minute with the top 11 list. And then I'm going to share with the last part of our show 12 simple tips that I use and that my clients use to really create some health, some vibrancy, some energy, and some simplicity in their lives. So stay tuned for that. All right, happy-go-lucky music. I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase, okay, God, I'll take it from here. Now, when we're born, when we're babies, when we're in the room, we have everything that we've been given. We don't need anything. And we come babies and we come out of the womb and we're hanging out. We got a breast, we got breast milk, got whatever we want. 24/7 care. It's like being at one of the Las Vegas hotels. It doesn't matter what you want. It's all right there. Usually in the form of a breast. But, there's other things. Diapers and, clean nappies and a place to sleep. I mean, you've got it. You have landed. You are set, buddy. You don't need to do anything as a baby. And then as you grow up and you start to become like around 16 or 17, you say to the big manager upstairs, who's managing everything, by the way, says, I'll take it from here. Thank you. You've been helpful, but now it's time to do it my way. And usually this is where the problems start to occur. Have you ever noticed that? It's like I often think, why is it that babies do not need therapy? It's only adults that need therapy. Why do you suppose that is? It may have something to do with our thinking. Now, here's a nice quote. I really like this quote. Be as simple as you can be. You will be astonished to see how uncomplicated and happy your life can be. That's from the great Paramahansa Yogananda. Be as simple as you can be. And you'll be astonished at how uncomplicated and happy your life can become. Now, I've started implementing some of this in my own life, and what I've found is that the more I focus on simplicity, you ever notice that? That when you focus on something, it expands? When you focus on something, you get more of it? When you focus on something, you experience it in a different way. So when you can be as simple as you can, just by simply asking yourself that question, how can I make myself my life a little more simple today? It's like Confucius says, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. And we do that through our thinking. The only thing that's going on in life is our thinking. And our thinking states whether something is a problem or whether something is wonderful. Our thinking says, our thoughts say whether something is big and needs to be handled, and our thoughts tell us, share the beauty in life. So when we can just start to focus on simplicity, simplicity will show up. And all you have to do is use a thought, use a question. How can I make this area of my life more simple? What's one thing that I can do that I'm not doing that would make my job more simple, that would make my relationship more simple, that would make my office more simple, that would make my driving to work more simple, that would make my creating food every week or eating food every week more simple. Whatever it might be that you want. My bank account. How might I? One of the things I was working on last week was, just getting all my bills together and making it more simple in terms of how to pay them. Because some I pay online, some of them pay with a check, and I'm thinking, I got to make this thing even more simple. And how might I do that? And if you want to ponder that, sit, drink a cup of tea, and just ponder. Ask yourself that question, and then relax and allow some new thoughts, some new answers, some new ways of looking at things, some new perspectives to come to you. It's that simple. All right, let's have Seamus, and then we're going to share with you 12 simple tips for a healthy, successful life. Seamus, are you there, Seamus? Oh, yeah, Dermot, how are you doing? I am there. Just be second there now. Hang on a minute. I'm just doing a little bit of yoga here. Seamus, I don't even want to ask. Last week it was meditation, and now it's yoga. Seamus, you were doing yoga a few weeks ago too, Seamus. What is going on here? Oh yeah, big into the yoga now, Dermot. Much like in the yoga, I have to say. And I think I might even get certified in becoming like a yoga teacher. Seamus, that's a very scary thought if you ask me. You teaching yoga. A leprechaun teaching yoga. Oh yeah, Dermot, yeah. Well, I'm going to call it green yoga. Sounds good, Seamus. Just don't ask me to go to your class. All right, come on over here, Seamus, and sit down here now. All right, come there now, all right. All right, great stuff. All right, hello, everyone. How's it going? Seamus O'Brien here with the top 11 list. Now, today, on the Celtic Coach radio show, going to be talking about the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about your sleep. Right, number 11. Sleep is God's way of saying, kids, stop. Just stop. Number 10. The greatest invention ever, in my eyes, the snooze button. You love this. They love the snooze button. Number 9. How weird it would be to have a complete stranger use your bed every night. That's what hotels are for. You go to a hotel, complete strangers sit. All right, that one needs work. All right, I know. Number 8. A boring college professor is someone who puts you to sleep and then charges you for it. That is so bloody true. I've found the best cure for my own insomnia. Chloroform. It works every time, and it's cheaper than Netflix. All right. Number 6. Did you know that the average man has 8 to 10 erections per night while he sleeps? And they're all timed exactly to coincide with the time he needs to go to the bathroom. Creates a lot of problems for us men when we're and we're trying to use the bathroom. Handstand on the bathroom is what I found works, but it's very dangerous, I have to say. Number 5. Bedtime stories are great, but I'd rather have some cash instead. Number 4. You got money worries. When all else fails, go to sleep. It costs nothing and it relieves you of all the responsibility of paying your bills, at least for 8 hours. Number 3. The thought of being dead is very scary to most people. Yet a third of our life is given to sleep. How important is sleep now for you, girls and boys? Number 2. I have 2 goals in life: to make money while I sleep, and to sleep while me money makes money for me. All right, top 11 list. The number 1 thing you absolutely do not need to know about sleep is this. Poverty has one advantage when it comes to sleep. I never get out of the wrong side of the bed because I never owned one. I'm Seamus O'Brien with the top 11 list. Cheers and good luck to you. Thanks very much, Seamus. That was pretty good, Seamus. That wasn't bad. Thanks very much, Dermot. You know, it's pretty good. The yoga teacher that I'm training with, she wrote that one. Did she now? Well, tell her thanks very much. What's her name? Well, her name is Myra Bentover. All right. She's quite a flexible girl, it sounds like. She is, yeah, Dermot. She does a lot of yoga. Do you know what I mean? She's always bent over at the waist doing yoga. So they just call her bent over now. Good to know, Seamus. Good to know. I'll sleep better knowing that information. Not. All right, thanks, Seamus. That was Seamus O'Brien there with the top 11 list. All right, let's wrap up the show. I'm going to share with you a few, 12 tips that now, I could share 100 with you. I mean, there's 100 different ways that you could, create more simplicity in your life. There's 1,000. I'm just going to share you some of the things that clients have shared with me, that I've shared with clients, and most of these I'm doing them myself in my own life. So I'll just share them with you to wrap up our show today. All right, 12 simple tips for a healthy life. One of the things that you can do early in the morning, everyone, is have a cold shower. Now, I know you might think, oh, God, not a cold shower in the morning. But you can have a hot shower and then end it with a cold shower. Now, not only does this close off all the pores in your skin so that you have healthy skin, but a shower in the morning also improves your circulation. And it also minimizes inflammation. So people, men when they get over 50 and women, start taking some cold showers. Get a hot shower and a cold shower. You can do it 3 times, 3 hot, 3 cold. Or, as I do in the morning, 1 hot and then I finish with a cold. And this is great for waking you up. It does waken you up. But it's also great for your circulation. Really gets the body going. Number 2. There's a lot of people out there that say, oh, stay away from the sun. Every morning, get some sun. Especially if you're indoors all day. When you get out in the evening or before you go to work in the morning, strip naked and make sure the neighbors don't see you. Get outside and stand naked or your shorts on in the sun. It's great. You get vitamin D from the sun, which is great for your moods, by the way. And vitamin D is great for your health. But it also vitalizes your skin. It also vitalizes your body. It also vitalizes the organs through the etheric energy that comes from the sun. Now, I'm not going to get into that, but let's just say 15 minutes of sun on as much as your body every day. Very, very healthy. They found out that people in Ireland, actually, one of the reasons there's a lot of alcoholism and depression in Ireland is because they don't get enough sun. Yeah, vitamin D. Yeah, very interesting. Number 3, this is a no-brainer, and I've started doing this in my life now more and more and more. Monday through Thursday, I do my best. I'm not, perfect at it, not to watch any television. They say that if you watch 22 minutes of television, it takes an hour off your life. Now, don't ask me the science, but that's what I've looked into. It also has another effect. See, watching television has a major impact on your brain chemistry. When you start to watch movies that are violent, at some point the brain starts to turn off the filters. And so all this violence and all this, crazy stuff that you're watching is going into your brain unfiltered. And it actually it can do quite a bit of I don't want to say damage, but it can impact you in a negative way that you have you start to become a little more moody. Your will starts to get weakened. And it also, they found, has a lot of impact on the brain chemistry itself. So, in terms of we're talking about sleep there, Seamus was talking about sleep, do your best, be at least an hour before you go to bed. Try not to watch anything horrendous or anything too crazy that amps you up. Number 4, create something fun. On my wall at home, I have a thing, and it just says, Dermot, for today, create, think, and act just for fun. So take a project, no results, man. We're so results-driven. Take a project and say, this project I'm going to create just for fun, not results. This project I'm going to create just for fun, not results. Number 5, laugh often. Your body, every time you laugh or you watch something funny, your body releases beneficial endorphins. And these are like natural painkillers. They also, because we have so much stress in our lives, they also counteract the effect of stress. So laugh. They've even used laugh therapy for depression. They've used laugh therapy for cancer. Incredible what they're doing with just laugh therapy. Number 6, drink water in the morning with a half a lemon. Every morning I get up, I have a pint of water, one of those mason jars, and I put a bit of warm water in there, and I fill it with cold water so it's warm. Squeeze a lemon in there with a pinch of salt, great for the body, and I drink that before I eat anything, 30 minutes before I eat anything, and it flushes all the toxins from the system the night before, because when you sleep, your body detoxifies. Dumps all the crap that you've been eating and stress and all that into your blood, but you've got to flush it out some way. So a pint of water or a mason jar of water in the morning is wonderful. And warm water works with the peristalsis. In other words, it helps you to eliminate your waste, to basically have a bowel movement in the morning. I was trying to think of a really nice way to say that. This is a no-brainer. Number 7, move every day. Exercise boosts your health. It promotes brain chemicals such as serotonin and dopamine, which are the chemicals that make you feel happier and make you live longer. Get out there and move. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or some runner. All you got to do is just move every day. The body was designed to move. Take a walk, 15 or 20 minutes. Number 8, learn to be kind to yourself. Isn't it interesting that you're kind to everyone else, but when it comes to ourselves, we're not very kind to ourselves. We're always judging ourselves, and we're always comparing ourselves to other people on Facebook who look like they've really got their lives totally in order, which is nonsense. People on Facebook do not have wonderful lives. Maybe some of them do, but most of them, they're just like you and me. They got their crap too. Number 9, studies have shown that gratitude, when you express gratitude daily, the people who do this are better able to cope with stress, with life problems, and with changes within their life. Gratitude, big one. Number 10, sleep 8 hours. And if you can, try to do your best to get up at the same time every morning so that your circadian rhythm, that's the rhythm of your sleep patterns, can be in alignment. It can be have the same rhythm all the time. It's really, really important. And again, turn that TV off an hour before, at least before bed. Turn down the lights. Get your body into that sleep. Sean Stevenson, Sleep Smarter, great book. Highly recommend it if you're having trouble with sleeping. And I also mentioned, number 11, don't compare yourself to others. Look, you're unique just the way you are. With all your what's the word? I'm trying to think. All your oddities and all your this and your that. You are unique. There's only one of you on the planet. You are a unique human being. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. No one could be as beautiful, remarkable, and unique as you are. So be yourself. I mean, because everyone else is taken, so you can only be yourself. And the last, number 12, is one that I'm challenged with at times, but I keep it in my awareness. Learn to say no. Learn to say no. When people ask you to do stuff, learn to say no. We're constantly being bombarded online and at home and in our lives with people asking us to do stuff for them. And there's nothing wrong with being of service and being helpful. But learn to say no. Learn to say, you know what, I'd love to help you out, but I don't have the time. Learn to say, that sounds like a really great project, but I apologize, I don't have the time to get involved in that. Or I'd love to help you with that, but I don't have the time today. Learn to say no. If there's anything that I talk to my clients about, it's this. Because they're saying yes to everything and everyone, and they have no time for themselves. Learn to say no. So that is our show this week, everyone. And it's a complete honor for me to be able to do this show every week. I love doing it. And I love being able to share this information, these tips, these tools, these techniques, these principles, the truth of our lives, and everything else that comes to mind. I just love being able to share that. So, my dear listeners, that is our show for this week. And I trust that you got something from our chat today. If you'd like to hear more, you can feel free to go over to my website at thecelticcoach.com or email me at thecelticcoach@gmail.com. Tell me what you'd like to hear in the show. I'm always open to receiving feedback or new ideas for topics for the show. I've had plenty of them on already, so keep them coming. And if you like, sign up there's a newsletter on there. I share the show, and I also share a little tip for living a healthy, successful life every week. And you'll also get an MP3 of this show on that weekly newsletter. Next week's conversation, oh boy, it's going to be a good one. Now, I meant to apologize because we were supposed to have Dr. Mark Howard come on the show today, and I apologize. I messed up with communication with Dr. Howard in terms of the dates, and we miscommunicated the dates. I miscommunicated the dates, so I apologize for that. I'm not perfect, thank God, and we will have him in the future. He has some dates. He's going to let me know when he's coming up. And next week's show is all about creating the life that you want. So tune in for that one. It's going to be a really, really good one. Until then, everyone, think big, have fun, and stay curious. I'm the Celtic Coach, and that, my dear listeners, is no blarney.